Hey, welcome back. So in this tutorial, we are going to go ahead and get some models out of the Unreal Engine Marketplace, and we're going to put them into our project in Unreal Engine. And I'm going to show you a couple different methods because some of the assets that are in the Marketplace are not able to be put directly into 5.1. We'll have to do a little bit of a conversion process, and I'll show you that here towards the end of the tutorial. All right. So again, if you're just joining me, you can get caught up here at Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization. Check out the rest of the landscape tutorials if you want. And you can also check out some of my other tutorials. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so right here I'm in the marketplace, and we've talked about this in the past in my class and in some of my other videos, but there are many assets in the marketplace that you can go and get. A lot of them are for purchase, and there are also a lot of free ones. And then every month there's a free for the month. So right here under free, you can find the free for the month, or you can find it on the main landing page and get those for free. I recommend doing that because you can get some really good assets that you can use in your game development. Okay. And then there are other free. There's some epic game content. There's a permanently free collection and a marketplace collection, and you can kind of peruse through those and find all kinds of really great assets that you can just kind of put in your library. And inside your library, you'll build up plenty. Let me get down there. Here we go. In your vault, and then you'll develop a lot of free assets over a period of time that will help you with your game development. And like I said, some of these are ones that were paid for that are free for the month, so you can get some really good stuff. All right, and the things that I'm going to show you in this tutorial, though, are everything that's free and still free in the marketplace. All right, inside the marketplace, there's a couple I want to show you just as demonstrations, and I've already kind of thrown some of the pieces into my project to kind of facilitate this going a little bit faster. The first one is going to be like a city, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and do free. Okay, so we're going to select this one right here, the city sample buildings, okay? So it's a free one. It's by Epic Games. I already have this in my library, so I am going to jump over to my library. And I'm going to select city. And I want city sample buildings, okay? And right here, I'm going to add it to my project. Now, when you do that, it'll pop up. And here in the demonstrations, it'll show you which projects that it can go into, all right? And if we're taking a look at this, we see that all of these are only for 5.0, okay? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create or put it into a project that already exists that we can use and then transfer it over into 5.1. And this is one of the things that I was talking about when I first looked at this, okay? So if we go back into the marketplace and we take a look at it, actually I'm just going to open it up right here because Marketplace is still giving me all kinds of fun. We take a look at it. You see right here it says that the supported engine versions is 5.0. This one has not been updated to 5.1. Easy ones to do are ones that are 5.1. You can just add them right into your project, okay? But we can't do that with this one. So what I'm going to do is add it into a project. I'm going to find something that's pretty small, easy to do. So right here, this migration demo. I already have this one set up as a migration demo. It's set up as 5.0. I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to add it to my project, okay? So basically what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to create a project and in 5.0, and then go ahead and do a transfer for it into 5.1. So I'm going to pause for a minute while it does this. Okay, so now we have finished with adding this to the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and find my project that I put it in, which was my migrating. So I'm just going to go up to the top, search my projects, All right, so this was my migrating demo right here for 5.0. Okay. So what we're actually going to do, instead of opening it in 5.0, what I want to do is I want to launch another version of Unreal Engine 5.1. Okay. So now I've got my 5.1 opened up right here. Okay. There it is, migration demo. I don't know why it wasn't popping up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I'm going to open a copy. I'm going to go ahead and pause while this happens. Okay, so now it's finally opened up. Now, one of the things that pops up is a couple little windows that says missing project settings, because we've migrated this over from a previous version from 5.1. So it should say missing project settings. I can't bring those over. They're in my other window. But what it says to do is open project settings. So if you click on the little line that says open project settings, your project settings will open up. Up here, type in SM6. Okay, and we just need to turn on this targeted shader format. And then you'll have to restart. Okay, and now with all that done, we're preparing shaders. So let's go in and take a look, see what we have, okay? Let's go up to File. We're going to open level. And here are the City Sample Buildings folder. And in here, there are some buildings, some asset guides. There's this one called Map. So let's double click on Map. And we'll do this one called Hero. And we're not going to worry about saving this. Okay, now we got this. This is interesting. I haven't had this before. So let's go ahead and enable missing. And it's going to build the shaders for a minute. And we'll need to do a restart, it looks like. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select Restart Now. I'm not going to save those. Okay, so now it's restarted, and we're back up and running. And let's go ahead and go back into our file, and we're going to open level, and we're going to go to City Sample. So there's a demo that we can take a look at, but I'm going to go back in here again and into our buildings. Oops. Into our maps, actually. And I'm going to look at the lineup for hero buildings again. Not worry about the chairs. All right, so while this is populating, I'm going to go ahead and pause. All right, so it's finally finished up with all the shaders. It took a little bit, but and it really made my machine struggle. And the scale of these are pretty big, so I'm going to jump up a little bit. And you can kind of see that these are all the buildings that we're dealing with. There's some ones with nighttime look to them. And some daytime ones with some lights on in them. I think what I want to do is I want to maybe grab this one. There's a lot of detail. These have a lot of mesh triangles and textures on them. But I'm going to select one, okay? And I want to transfer this to, or migrate it to my current project. So by selecting it, and then I can right click, actually if I select it, and then find it in my folder over here. So by selecting it, find the folder. Okay, and it's this one right here. And this is a hero building. So we gotta remember, this is one where you walk up close to it and you see a lot of detail in it. It's not one that's set off in the distance. So that's another reason why we're really struggling with all of the textures on it. So I'm gonna right click, and then there's asset actions, and I can migrate it, okay? And then I can select what it is I want to migrate. And in this case, it's the one building here, okay? All right. Let's save the selected level. Here it is. All the building for this one building. All the assets to it. I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to pick where I want it to go. And in this case, I'm going to put it in my landscape project. In my content folder. And I'm going to select that folder. And it's going to migrate it. And because of the level of detail, this may take a couple of minutes. So again, I'm going to pause. Alright, so now that it's finished transferring over, let's just double check to make sure it's in the folder. Okay, the city sample buildings are right here. And the building. Okay, I think this was it right here. So what I'm going to do first before I start playing around with it is I'm going to close this one because it's a lot of stress being put on my computer, first off. And let's see what this looks like. I pull this out into here. All right, I got to enable. Wow, that thing's huge. All right, so I'll need to restart now because I'm missing the same stuff that my other one did. And this is a very large building, which may not be appropriate for my game, but at least we learned how to get this stuff. So let's go ahead and save selected. And in the process of rebooting, let's see what happens. Pause for a minute. Alright, so now we're back open again. So let's go ahead and go back to my level. The whole point of this was to show you how to get models into the world, and that we have done. It's here. It is massive, massively large, and we would probably need to do some things like instancing this or something to make it work a little bit better. But if we hit play, right now the windows are lit up because of the sun reflecting off of it, but we have now successfully managed to. Now there would be some things we would need to do to work on it. But that's how you can basically find an older version, open it up in whatever version you can of Unreal Engine, so 4.26, 4.27, in this case this was 5.0, and then convert it to a 5.1, and then migrate it into your game. So, but this is probably way too large for my purposes for this game, but it definitely does show us how we can do that. All right. So, pretty cool. So let's go ahead and delete that out of here. All right, so let's take a look at migrating something a little bit simpler into our world, something that isn't quite so large and highly detailed. And what we're going to do for this one is go back into our Epic Marketplace, okay, and this will be a little bit simpler. This will be more of a direct migration or direct import into our game. And so if we take a look down in our vault, I have a couple of towns and cities that will work. I'm going to use this Downtown West modular pack. This one is also free, so you can find it in the free assets. You can type in Downtown West modular pack. We're going to add it to a project, and you can see it's supported in these versions here, so all the way up to 5.1. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add to Project. I'm going to find my landscape project. That would be this one right here. I'm going to add it to that project and just hover make sure it is. That's the right path. We're going to add the project. And I'm going to pause while this transfers because this is a pretty good sized one too. There's a lot of detail in this one. So let's pause. Okay, so while we're waiting for it to finish downloading, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about attribution and using free assets in your games real quick. This particular one is really highly detailed, and once we get it open, you're going to see that it's got a lot of details in it, and you may be able to use the buildings differently. We're also going to take a look at taking this as a single piece model and putting it entirely into our game. But you can also break it apart and make it into separate types of buildings because of how modular this is. Very highly detailed. Your computer may not be able to run all of it. It may well be able to as well. It just depends on the computer you're working with. But some questions will come up about this as being able to be used for commercial use. All right. So 2 questions I found here in the details section. So whenever you're looking at these models, try to find out what kind of attribution or if you can even use it in a commercial type product. And this particular one can be because it's on the Unreal Marketplace for free. It's a permanently free collection on Epic Games. This question here asks, can it be used in other engines? No, it cannot. Okay, this is one that has to be used in Unreal Engine, so you cannot use it in Unity or other engines or other purposes. And then also down here it says, can you use it for commercial purposes? Yes, you can. But again, it must be kept in Unreal Engine, and you must have a few protections like it has to be fully packaged product. In other words, when you go to ship the game, your customer, the end user, cannot access textures, models, and things like that to be able to pull out of the game and use for their own purposes. They need to come get it and use it only in Unreal Engine. So some things to think about when you're looking for models in the marketplace. Take a look and see to what level you can use it. Most of the time the information is in there in the description. But because this one is no longer, well, I'm not going to say it's not supported by the creator anymore because they have updated it to 5.1, but they are not, he's not a company making these for this particular pure polygons anymore. He's actually moved on to a different business. So there wasn't a lot of detail in here about use for this particular model. You kind of had to dig into the reviews and questions to be able to find that type of information. But you need to do due diligence and make sure you check to see where these models are coming from and how you can use them if they're free or if you purchase them. Even sometimes when you purchase it, there are limitations. So things to think about when you're putting together your game. Alright, so now that it has finally finished up, let's go ahead and take a look back in Unreal Engine. Back in our content here. Downtown West, right there. Okay, so again, I'm going to take a look at the assets. This asset folder has all kinds of different pieces. So we have buildings A, B, D, E, awnings, foliage, ground, walkways. So let's take a look at building A. Okay, you can see all the little pieces to it here, so you can actually take it and build a building. I wonder, let's see what happens if we do this. Sometimes they're all broken apart, and if you select them, but it doesn't look like there's enough pieces for that. But let's take a look here. I think they're just all going to go out there as a single piece. Okay. So take a look at it. This is kind of like a storefront or a top to a storefront. All the pieces are kind of mixed together though. All right. So it kind of put some of them together. So you can use all those different pieces, all of these different pieces individually or together. to make different buildings. Okay, there's awning pieces in here. Ground pieces. Individual props. Fire hydrants. So another thing we can do is we can also go into the maps. We can open up one of these. So here is an asset showcase. Okay, so in the asset showcase, basically what we can see is how they have all the different props and pieces that are here. There's some effects things that are here, like wind and fountain water, fountain with the water in it. Different modular building pieces. Actually, this is sidewalk and roadway. Some of your foliage, your trees and bushes. And then a whole bunch of different building fronts along here. Just kind of set out that way. So we can also take a look at how they, like a demo environment that they have here. Okay, so let's take a look at that. We get this little caution up here. Nothing to worry about there. Okay, let's go ahead and close it. And we have this nice little environment here that we can take a look at and kind of run around in. Let's see if we hit the third person play, if it'll actually play for us, since this is in our world where we have our third person set up in it already. A lot of detail in it. Nice little shopping area. Okay, so this environment has way too much to just import the entire map, okay? You won't be able to move it or manipulate it, most likely. So what we can do, though, is we can take pieces, right? And find the stuff that we want. So maybe we can do it in a smaller modular area. And right here we have it broken down by folders, and this is called Block B. So what we could try to do is, if we wanted to just grab some of the buildings inside of Block B, or Building B, I guess that is. Building B is, which one? That corner right there. Actually, I want to grab, you know what? Maybe a corner building. Maybe this corner building right here, because this one looks really interesting right here. It's kind of their showpiece one. So let's select that one. That is Building Cafe A, it looks like. So let's see if we can grab all of that building. It doesn't look like it's all in the same folder, though. Let's see here. Let's see how they have this broken down. Okay. And there's still maybe too many pieces for us to be able to transfer doing a copy and paste, but let's see what this will look like. Wow, there's a lot of pieces to this. We have Cafe A down here. So that would be almost everything else in this block. Quite a bit of pieces Okay. Wow. And this would be everything in the block. Oh, that's all the buildings. Probably more than we want to try to conquer. That doesn't even include building D. So we get all the rooftops. Interesting. All right, so let's just focus on Cafe A. And where are the stairs with loops? Okay, so that's part of it. So let's see here. Let's go all the way up. A lot of pieces to this. This is a lot of stuff. Okay. And it looks like we're going to get part of that building over there, which we probably could delete. Oh, we got a lot of other parts of buildings. Really only after this one right here, though. Okay. I'm not sure what this is. I'm going to grab those. We can always delete them. All right. So now I've selected a portion of the building that I want, and it looks like we're going to get a lot of other things we don't want. We could try to deselect these, but it's probably going to be a lot of work to do so. Especially without really seeing what it is. And the way this is going to come into our world is it's going to be off of our map because this is in a different zone or different coordinates than what our world currently is sitting at. Most likely yours is the same. So I'm going to go ahead and just try this real quick. We're going to go to control, up to edit. We're going to copy. And then we're going to go to file. Open our level. We're not going to save anything. Okay. And now we're going to go up to edit and paste. And it'll all pop up way up over there. A lot of things we didn't want came with it, but let's see how the building we did want worked out. And it looks pretty complete. So what we're going to do is, unfortunately, have to delete a lot of these other pieces. And none of it makes any sense, the names. So there's an awful lot of pieces that we're going to have to delete. This is going to be kind of tedious just for this one building, but these are some of the issues that you may run into when you start trying to use other assets. So what we could try to do is, let me see, those are all these window A buildings here. Maybe better to try this. Okay, it does not appear to be any parts of the building that we want to keep. Let's try deleting those. Okay, that's a start. Okay, so let's see here. Make sure we didn't get anything of the building we do want to keep. Oh, we lost some of the back of this building. Let's undo what we just deleted. If we can. You know what? It didn't come in the first place. Okay, we may have to go find that. So we should be okay deleting these. And then deselect these. Careful not to move things around. Holding the control button, we can deselect them. Delete some of that. And what else are we hanging around out here? Okay, I think that's all we have left of our cafe building. Okay, let's see if we have anything else kind of hanging around out here. I see it. Now we are going to have to do some repair work on this one, but I think we can just use these panels when we get it over to where we want and just drag them down. So let's try this out. See if it'll move for us. Okay. Alright, slow my camera down a little bit. And drag this back up. Alright, so now we've got it pretty much situated into our terrain. This may not be a building I keep, but it might be. I don't know. So let's go ahead and fix this back wall real quick. I'm going to select the individual pieces by holding shift. And then holding the Alt button. And actually, I think I'm missing one on this side as well. Did I lose it? No. Okay. So I'm going to hold the Alt button, drag it down. Just pull it down. Meets the ground. Okay. looks like we got some weird corner going on here. Actually, no, it's fine. Oh, actually, I think we do. It seems to be all the way up. I think this is issue with the model. Because... So you can't see the backside, so these walls are see-through. When you go inside, you can see that you can see through them. They're only one-sided. And that's because this is a building that you can't actually walk into. But what we could do to fix this little issue, since they did it down here, we could grab this pillar here, Alt, drag that down there. So it looks the same on all four corners, and it'll also fix that little weird there we go. Okay. Play. Let's see what we got. Okay, so it's not a building you can actually go into, but this is a building that you could put in as a piece to your city that would help build out your buildings, and then you can have a few buildings that the player can actually run into. All right, so that's how you can go in and find models that are created inside of the marketplace in other marketplace assets, and how you can kind of put them into your world and use them as you need to. Now, one thing, when we start doing this type of stuff, one of the things you want to focus on is making sure that you have your things in folders so that you can kind of separate them out if you want to. So this is the bridge that I have over here. Okay. And I put it in a folder. I put A in front of it just to keep it in the top as I'm pulling in assets. I don't want it to get mixed in with other assets. So I kind of give it this little designator to help separate them out so I can pull in assets like this building. Because if it had come in with all these different pieces and it didn't actually have folders or was kind of a mess in the naming convention, then we would have had to kind of dig things through and try to figure out what was what. Okay, and the other thing is when you start kind of moving things around, you may end up with folders that you're not using. Like when we first pulled all that stuff in, there was some stuff that I thought belonged to this cafe that you saw that was underneath building B. I pulled them in. It also pulled the folder in. This folder, because it has this closed eye, there's nothing in it. So we can select that and we can delete that and get rid of it. And then we have all of the things that belong inside of this building now inside that particular folder. And we could even, if we wanted to, we don't want it in this block folder, we could just pull it out, drop it in under here. But I'm going to leave it for that right now. I may add to it. The other thing is, when I brought all of this in, I may have also, nope, somehow it just ended up outside of my folder where it was supposed to go. Okay, so this is kind of a way that we can easily bring in our different assets into the world and start building out our gameplay area. Okay, you've got to kind of plan an area where you want it to go. You may have to modify your terrain for it to be able to fit. And then just kind of start dropping these buildings that might work into your scene. Think about how you want to use them, of course, and what purpose they're going to have in your game. And then kind of just fill out your environment. And there's different ways to do that. In the next video, I will show you how to bring in models from websites such as TurboSquid and Sketchfab and things like that, so that you can also have options to use other types of assets. Now, one of the things about websites is, again, people created them. There may be some attributions that go along with them, or you may not be able to actually use them at all in a published game. So some things to think about. All right, so again, if you liked what you saw in this video, please subscribe to my channel and like the video. I'll see you next time.